Welcome everyone who is here to participate in this discussion. So without much ado, let's sort of move ahead. We have broken up the discussion into uh, 5 or 6 themes along which we will continue with this discussion. The first theme would be the big picture in terms of how AI is influencing strategic decision making, right? So we know that earlier most of the decisions were taken based on more or less the gut feeling and experience of the senior management in the organization. Slowly we moved into the domain of data warehousing and all, where we started collecting data from different departments within the organization, merging them into a collaborative uh, sort of data, gelling those data together to get a holistic view of how the organization is performing. So decision making slowly moves from a gut feeling and just experience of senior management and all to more data driven in nature. Of course, the experience counted, but the decision was more data driven. Another area that we seen is more faster and more agile decision making. All right, business is changing very fast these days, so we need to take decisions according to the market needs at a much higher pace and rate. So with data, especially with the use of big data, we've been able to do that, right? Then comes the intelligent automation, wherein we are able to use predictive analytics models and all to sort of automate, not just automate, but intelligently automate certain processes, such as in the, say, for example, in the talent strategy or HR or recruitment area, we've been using AI for predicting the best fit candidate for a certain job role, right? So for financial planning, again, AI helps us model risk so that the investments that are being made are less risky than if we were doing it just based on pure experience or gut feeling, right? So these are some of the areas, again, we have uh, better risk management that is happening, right? More, what could I say, adherence again to the different uh, data security models and all, data compliance models and all, HIPAA and everything, right? And of course, we've also seen a lot of personalized decision being made, especially in the realm of retail and telecom areas. These are some of the areas that are currently using AI and data for making strategic decision making across the globe. So, Mr. Kapil, I would like you to, if you could wish to throw more light on some of these discussions or put in additional thoughts on this.
Yeah, sure, Sujay. Thank you. So I think what you said definitely resonate with me. I think some of the operational challenges that are kind of happening in the businesses in last 2 decades or so, they were all handled through typical journeys of analytics and data and BI side. But in last 10 years or plus, we've seen this big data technologies providing the uh, fuel to run these businesses more optimized way and then providing more insights rather than just the reports or analytics on what the operational things were happening. I think from there to the I think that journey happens very quickly. I think all technologies kind of go through the curve of innovation to actual mainstream adaptation. But I think the AI happens so quickly. I think, and what I'm in my experience, and also kind of things resonated by many industry experts in the space, are the leadership in the organization. They're trying to get on the journey of AI, but there are many challenges that they face to actually adopt. So 80% industry leaders, they expect to be part of the AI journey, but only 20% are successful. I think so. There are many challenges that they're facing to get into this journey and actually implement it and scale it. And it's uh, a kind of a paradox there. Like everybody wants to do that, but no, I mean, this is same thing was there for the big data 10 years ago, and eventually people got onto that journey. So it's but it's a different kind of a time scale here we're talking about for the AI that we need to probably look at it. And I'll probably in our conversation I'll share some of the challenges that industries are facing, and uh, and how those challenges can be resolved through some of the steps that industries could take, mostly in the leadership space. And the reason I'm giving all this input is mainly because our topic is AI to make the strategic decisions, right? So all the strategic decision mainly happen with at the leadership level, uh, through right input, which is mainly on their business functions and operational units. So it's like a pyramid. So you need to have a right foundation to get to that right insight and strategy decisions, based on what happened, what may happen, and what where they want to get to make it happen for their vision. So yeah, I think that's probably I would probably add to what you said, Sujoy, and maybe we can discuss more about this challenges that are getting faced by the organization in the AI space. Yeah.
Definitely. Very nice thought, Kapil. And
Yeah.
talking about challenges, I think one of the areas that the organization have taken note of but are still struggling to a large extent is creating a data-driven culture within the organization itself. It's
Yeah.
not only at the strategic level, people at the strategic level who needs to be data-driven. Each and every member of the organization, in some form or other, needs to be, what should I say, literate about how data is uh, affecting how their day-to-day work, and even not only at the day-to-day work, but how it would affect their future processes as well. And one of the areas I've seen is not a whole lot of education does happen on the data literacy side. A lot of times, especially most of the medium-sized organizations, all even if they are trying to get into AI and data, they expect uh, people at certain levels to sort of get initiated on the data literacy on their own without having a strategic or structured way to get into or imbibe this data culture within everyone within the organization. But until that happens, it may not be very easy for organizations to depend on data and AI to make meaningful strategic decisions, because strategic decisions, though taken at the higher level, but each and every department of the organization would have to contribute properly for those strategic decisions at the higher organization level. And that is something I think a lot of organizations are still struggling with, uh,
Yeah.
to a large extent. I shouldn't say some, but to a large extent, especially when it comes to incorporating big data with the structured data that they've been used to working with all this time.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I think some of the other key things that they are struggling with is integration complexity. So if they want to bring in some AI technology, or even any initiative around the AI and big data, the large organization and the mid-size, they typically, uh, focus on to integrating their uh, technology businesses through more of a different data pipelines. And the governance is part of that, as you just explained. I think the literacy and governance is very important there, but the integration complexity is still quite high. So because of the nature of the dependency on the data and analytics to make the decision faster and drive the business values, it's becoming very difficult for organization to keep up the pace on with the changing demand in the technology as well as the business side. The other issue or challenge is the return on investment. So the uh, investment that business would like to make into this doesn't provide them the enough backing from the operations team and the team who are already on the ground working on what or using some of the applications. So that's the kind of a resistance to change, because you need a completely different skills and literacy around how you use this and consume this data, plus a bit of fear in the organization about they may lose their job in terms of how this automation, intelligence automation, or the next level is agentic AI will come and drive this. And then I think the final thing is I most of the time says the data normally is not ready to make the AI work. Yeah. So this is because of lack of investment in the organization in the right time to make the data right, accurate for them. So I think these are some of the challenges on the ground the organization are facing to adapt to the changing need, and then that is kind of a hindering the AI strategy based decision making as well. Yeah.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you because you can't expect to just put in AI on some rubbish data and expect to get good results out of it. So
Exactly. Yeah.
ensure that your AI models are giving results that are
Mhm.
useful and valuable to the organization. You need
Yeah.
to ensure that your data that you feed into the AI models and systems are
Mm.
clean to the as much as possible. And that is something that every organization first needs to look at, I believe, before they can think of AI strategy
Yeah.
for decision making. That's right, Kapil. I totally agree with you
Thank
on
you.
this. So coming back to this thing, uh, so we see that there is uh, collaboration that sort of is needed between humans and AI to ensure that the strategic decision making is useful. So how do we collaborate between the human and AI systems? So one of the areas probably would be to have defined boundaries as to what my AI system would do and where exactly the human intervention has to come in. See, I personally look at the A in the AI as assisted intelligence more than artificial intelligence. AI is basically there to assist human humans. HI is far superior to AI skill. So we need to sort of create boundaries between what AI will contribute and what would humans do when AI has made their contribution. Machines are very good in certain things. They can churn out information, uh, process data and all much faster than us. But humans still can understand contextual, ethical, and other creative aspects of the output that AI has produced. So that is where human judgment is still very, very, very much required. Even with people thinking of agentic AI and all. Next, we need to have some kind of a proper interpretability and transparency of the model. A lot of times, if you don't understand what the model output is, it is very difficult to decide whether to accept it or not. If you blindly accept, it may produce results that are not conducive to our desired outcome, right? So that is again important, and for that, a certain amount of what should I say, knowledge of how this AI models produce results is needed. It's not necessary that everyone has to know have the mathematical knowledge behind it, but some sort of an understanding that okay, this is if the AI this is the data that I give it, and this is the request that I made. The outcome would be I should be able to interpret the outcome to a certain extent. Again, decision making or collaborative decision making, a lot of times we do use a lot of these generative AI applications to help us with certain decision making or help us create certain outputs, right? Generate PowerPoint presentations, uh, summarize documentations and everything. But we still need to ensure that we understand the output that they have created. So that's where human intelligence and knowledge is still very much required when we are interacting with AI systems. So some of these thoughts in my mind, I'm sure there are a lot more. So Kapil, anything else?
No, I
Any
get, yeah, I think just a couple of things. I think this definitely kind of resonates again with me, what you just mentioned about some of the typical things that we kind of focus with the AI strategy. Um, from a top-down perspective, like leaderships, again, I'll bring that perspective and more of my work happen with the CXO levels. The focus always remains on the business value driver, like how I can improve my revenues, how I can, drive more growth or customer experience, or improve the margins or operational efficiencies. And there are multiple kind of areas that the AI can come and help, and automation is one. Uh, uh, and as we mentioned, human touch is absolutely required. Even you bring the AI into these use cases, the human touch is required in terms of building the automation, but also making sure that they are ethical. I think we probably may discuss about that. It's where it's transparent, ethical, and as well as it's making the right decisions, not biased in terms of making the decisions when they comes in automation. But I think the most important thing I would say is around the driving the efficiencies and productivity thing. So when human activities and work activities are involved, it's the efficiency is the key area where it can drive a lot a better growth and a cost and efficiencies around that for the organization. So I have seen more of the organization implementing the AI use cases more on the efficiency and operational side, because it's easy to start there, and it is also easy to kind of integrate with their existing enterprise capabilities, so that it slowly starts delivering the outcome, rather than trying to do a large kind of a big bang kind of an approach to drive the things across the organization. So I think, yeah, I just wanted to add these few points on top of what you just mentioned. Yeah.
very good point. And I agree with you that organizations, if they try to do AI on a big bang approach, probably they are setting themselves up for failure. It is best that they use AI for automation, intelligent automation, and then move into the other areas beyond just plain automation and all. So that would
Yeah.
be a intelligent way to start applying AI within the organizational framework. I agree with you. Uh, Kapil has just mentioned about ethics and all, responsible AI. So our next theme is basically on some of the ethics, bias, and how do we ensure responsible AI is being implemented within an organization. See, AI is basically data driven. Kind of data you feed into this AI system, right? It tends to learn according to that data, and it will give outputs based on its learning. So it is very, very important that we create a ethical guidance and principles around how we use AI within the organization. So because a lot of times, right, biased data will give you biased outputs, which may be detrimental not to the organization itself, but to its science and society at large, depending on what kind of organization we are dealing with, what kind of organization is implementing it. So it is important that we sort of do something like audit the training data to ensure that there is no inherent bias in it. Use this concept of fairness metrics, okay, to ensure that the data will be used, not only used, but will produce results which are fair and unbiased to the larger sections of society or whoever. And of course, we need to do a lot of testing on this data to see that uh, it does not create any adversarial outputs. Apart from bias and all, we also need to have some kind of uh, outlines or guidelines on the model interpretability, how we interpret a certain model, because we all know that data can be used to uh, interpret things the way we want to, even if the data is not, uh, what should I say, uh, trying to tell that story, but we can modify the story based on our bias or requirements based on the data that we produce. Right. So these things are important when we are dealing with uh, applying strategic AI for making any kind of strategic business decision to ensure that the decision is ethical and it is unbiased. So, Kapil, any experience on this? Your thoughts on this ethical and biasness, and about especially on responsible AI?
Absolutely. I think the foundation for ethical and responsible AI lies on the governance. So, if you have a strong governance in the organization, which is already implemented part of the data and analytics function, and kind of taken down to the business function where there is a good data literacy that is in the organization, along with involvement from the infosec and the team. I think that gives a really good foundation of driving the policies and framework for bringing the ethical and responsible AI. I think the second thing is more from a technology point of view. I think having your private like guardrails and private LLMs kind of helps into more on the generative AI side, driving the better uh, out, outcome, which is unbiased. I think that's more focus on unbiased. And I think the third thing is mainly writing and uh, auditing the right prompts that we have. So prompt engineering around more transparent and more unbiased results, which probably have been tested and trained and then driven to the mainstream. I think that's quite important as well. So yeah, part of governance, part of technology implementation, and then the human touch is the prompt engineering. I think that's three things basically will drive the less biasness. I mean, it's difficult to remove the complete biasness given there's always human touch involved. It's unconscious or subconscious biasness, you can call it. But yeah, I think there are guide rails and there are frameworks, policies that can be implemented and other to kind of reduce that in the organization. Yeah.
Yeah, good thought. Especially, I really like the thoughts on the governance and the guardrails.
Yeah.
Uh, you are absolutely right. When humans, we inherently are biased based on our experiences of life, but with proper guardrails and governance and with proper prompt engineering guidance and all, we can sort of manage this biasness to a large extent when we create outcomes with AI systems. Excellent thought.
Thank you.
Excellent. So, we sort of coming to the very closure of the discussion, right? We've looked at various aspects of how AI can be used for strategic decision making. What are some of the advantages, some of the caveats that we need to look into, right? So let's quickly take a look at some of the tools maybe that we can use for this creating AI models and applications that would help us create decisions. The first thing that comes to mind is usage of the generative AI platform. I'm sure all of us have started using Gen AI applications like ChatGPT on and all, right? So where we use all these natural language tasks, document generation, summarization, and all. And I think there is really not a need to tell most people what ChatGPT or other generative AI applications and platforms can do for us. Apart from that, we have the data and business intelligence platform where we use tools like our Tableau, Power BI, etc., and even Excel to create reports, dashboards, visualization, right? So where we are able to see a pictorial representation of the data and the outcome of some of the analysis that we do with data for creating strategic decisions. At a lower level, in the sense that we have this machine learning and model of things, right? At times, we create our own machine learning models to work with data that is very specific to our needs and the data that is created within the organization itself to uh, do predictions and even prescriptions. Important aspect when working with your tools that are required for this strategic decision making by AI is tools for data engineering and creating data pipelines. So now most of these AI models are based on big data, where we have broadly this velocity, variety, and all, right?
Hi, team.
And we use tools like Databricks, Apache Airflow, and all for getting this big data into systems like Spark and Hadoop for storage, or even Snowflake and all, uh, create lakehouse, data lakes and all, so that we could use that data for our model building. So uh, organizations which are interested in creating their own models need to have data engineering and pipeline tools in place, as well as people who are capable of working with them. And then there are other decision intelligence platforms, more like a business intelligence platforms like we have Pixel, ClickView, and all those for taking or making specialized kind of dashboards or creating intelligent or trying to extract intelligence from within the data itself. So for any strategic AI, applications or organizations which are looking to develop AI-based strategic models. These are some of the tools that they have to work with. Important thing again is whether we do a buy or a build, right? Whether we buy existing solutions that we can quickly customize to a certain extent and use it for our needs, or we build it from scratch. It depends on the user to a certain extent, the capability of the organization to do engineering and whether they have AI resources within in-house, and it also requires, it depends on the kind of data that they are working with, whether they need to create their own models or they can use existing solutions to create output. So one interesting area that the organization started looking into is sort of a hybrid model where they are sort of mixing and matching these two buy and build things, where they are buying certain solutions, right, that they can implement immediately and building others which are very, very specific to their organizational needs. So, Kapil, would appreciate your thoughts on these.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that expert into the technology side of the AI, but I've been, hearing more from the experts is some of the deep research modules like ChatGPT or Pixely and all. They are kind of becoming quite mainstream with some new recent one added as Grok and from Google as well. Uh, More on the productivity side, I would probably choose Microsoft Copilot. It's quite embedded in the organization, given most of the organization use Microsoft product. So Copilot, more on productivity automation side are been definitely on the top. Then more on the I would say agentic AI. There's few that have come up like LangChain and my favorite is NA10, which is very easy no code platform where you can actually build a lot of automation, agentic AI automation as multi agents as well, and it kind of gives you orchestration capabilities, it adaptability as well to the different platforms as well. So yeah, those are some of those things. And then I think the last but not least is the prompt engineering. So Notion AI, which is gives you a prompt library, which is probably gonna become a mainstream skill in the AI industry as we progress and become mature. So I think these are some of my kind of areas I could probably say in the technology space where we probably had to look to build the skill in the organization and see how they can be embedded into the mainstream IT organization and delivery. One last thought on the buy versus build. I think there's no right or wrong answer for okay, we have to buy or a build because it's every organization has a different needs and different time scales, roadmap, also different kind of a culture. So uh, I think the best to is look at what organization internal skills versus external, relationship with the vendor that they have. And when they have a very strong relationship with the vendor who have experience and done the similar work for other clients, I think best to, bring them in. So bring expert, so expert led development or, integration of these tools is mostly, recommended. Uh, and then, uh, yeah, I mean, this is how probably you probably get onto the journey as well. So buy versus build, make that decision, and then start small, driving the pilot mostly with the operational data, so that you can start unlocking the benefit quite early in the journey, and then drive incrementally to get to the larger picture. Yeah.
Right? Totally agree. And I really like your thoughts about prompt engineering. What SQL is to or is to relational database management, people working with RDBMS skills, prompt
Mhm.
engineering is something still similar kind of necessary skill for anyone working with these generative AI models. So
Yeah.
you are very right. We probably will not be able to live without it.
Yeah,
in the coming years.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, just before we close down, let's take a quick look at what the future holds for us. Some of the future trends and skills that would be sort of required by uh, people within the organization, both management and people working on the non-management areas to help them take strategic decisions or even non-strategic decisions of the day-to-day work to ease it and make things better. So, like Mr. Kabul has just mentioned, one of the areas would be agentic AI, which would allow people to take, which would basically allow organizations to take autonomous decisions without too much of human invention, intervention. Humans would be required, but uh, industry and research is moving towards creating AI agents or agentic AI that is being called, which would be in a position to make decisions autonomously against AI agents, which are basically primarily still being used for automating tasks in an intelligent fashion. So agentic AI is something that is definitely one area that strategic decision makers would need to be looking into. Again, like we've already discussed earlier, AI and human strategic decision makers, there has to be a coexistence. So any decision, strategic decision taken by AI would be sort of used more and more as a tool to help guide in taking strategic decisions. So AI probably will be the decision creator and the human will be the decision adopter once they have decided on AI with its speed and all would be in a position to create a lot of alternatives that the human decision maker would be able to evaluate and adopt as to which would be the best for the scenario at hand. Then again, we have some uh, AI augmented strategy execution, similar to something that already said. So AI is taking or helping the decision maker to uh, take or execute a decision. And some of these decisions that AI can help would be in taking would be highly personalized as well, depending on the needs of a certain client or certain set of demography of people and all. So, in terms of future of AI, we see agentic AI being used more and more for decision making, right? And there will be a close interaction between the strategic decision makers and AI for creating and adopting decisions within the organization.
Yeah.
So, Kapil, yeah, you want to add on that?
Yeah, just few thing I would add from a future kind of a point of view. Future is definitely bright with AI. I think that's what the leadership has understood. Now they need to supercharge their strategies to get on the accelerated path. They need to do little differently to make start soon on this. If they're not started, start with expert led case selection. So on their organization, I would say to make it work faster, not an ortha vision because that probably may not help them to sustain in the competition. Uh, you know Use the data that they already have. So basically the operational data thing that I mentioned earlier, because that's more mostly used and maybe trusted as well, not fully trusted, but yeah, they do decision based on that. So, start there. I would also say that, do a joint kind of a governance between IT and business, because I mean, we say this many times, but particularly in AI space, it's very important to bring the business experts who are understand the process very well, and then with the developers team to kind of a joint and drive the things with low code or no code, because this is where the business gets involved very actively, because when it comes to the code, it's basically they lose the interest. Uh, Try to drive the governance as well business led, so not IT led, AI pilots or proof of concept. So drive this through the established business driven governance, which typically most of the organizations are now having, been in the agile ways of doing the changes in the organization. And don't try to make it perfect as well, I think anything. So, fast fail, good enough is good, and start small and scale, as soon as possible. You can get that opportunity. Basically, define your rollout before you do the pilot. So, measure that as well in your pilot success and get it. So future is now, I would say. And I think one more final thing to add is like agentic AI. Yes, that's something Gartner did also mention, that is the 2025-26 major trends in the market from the technology and data and analytics point of view. But also, I think on top of the agentic AI, more going from a decision making, the simulation also gonna become a big part of the AI ecosystem. So you do the big data, you do the more of AI, ML, analytics, Gen AI. But on top of that, to make it business, to make the decision easy, the simulations will become more and more mainstream as well. So with that thought, I would probably hand over to you, Sanjay. Yeah.
So, yeah, I like your thought on the simulation aspect because yes, with AI and a lot of data that we have in hand today, it has become a lot easier to create these simulation softwares and modules to see
Yeah.
uh, how a certain process would behave down the line in the future and
Yeah.
would help also create some kind of a prescriptive thing.
Hmm.
So, so well, uh, we sort of come to the end of our panel discussion here. And if any of the viewers have any questions and all, Mr. Kapil and I would be happy to take them. I'm not promising I'll be having an answer to all your questions right away, but would be happy to get to know what questions you have in mind so that if need be, I can do my own research and get back to you on that. So please, if any of you have any questions, please feel free.
Yeah, please feel free to ask any question. Don't hesitate. So we have one question in the chat box by Happy. What are the biggest challenges with creating AI factories?
I'm probably maybe little clarification. What is mean by AI factories? So then, is it setting some center of excellence, or is it some assembly line? Is what exactly the concept AI factory is? Sorry, I'm probably not aware. So clarification may be required. If it is about the COE, I think the biggest challenge is skill, availability of skill, and second thing is about prioritizing the use cases as well. So you have set up a factory, but then what goes on the assembly line if you deliver something outcome? I think so. Those are the two areas I think we probably need to look at solving those challenges. Uh, Sujoy, any thoughts from your side?
Uh, See, I totally agree on that AI skill set and use case, of course. Also, in terms of the factory, I'm not sure whether if you're thinking that we could build a model that can give same output with different kinds of data, we probably will not be able to create a factory like that with AI because the output that we get with the same model might vary to a certain extent, right? Even if you write the same prompt twice or give the same prompt to two different Gen AI models, you will have a there's a high possibility that the output that you get will not be exactly matching. So, in terms of uh, AI factory, if we are looking at a CAE, basically, like Mr. Kapil has mentioned, skill set would be a challenge, and creating models that would spit out the same output with different data, that probably will not be possible with a, system like AI. It is, of course, possible with physical factories, like if you are creating chips, cards, and all, but not it may not be very possible with a factory where uh, you're feeding different data into a same AI model and expecting to get the same output. Well, if you could clarify on your concept of factory, then maybe we could think a little more on that. By the way, the does this discussion satisfy your concept of what you had factory, your thought of factory, AI factory, or is it something completely different? Well, no problem. We could continue the discussion outside of this panel discussion as well. Any other questions? Um, any of the other participants, members? So, Aryan, if there are no other questions, should we conclude on this discussion for now?
Yeah, I guess so. Are there any more questions? Please, if there are, please ask. No, sir, I don't think so, sir. So we should close the session, sir. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So thank you so much for everyone for joining us today. We truly hope you found the session insightful and that has sparked new ideas and perspectives on leveraging AI and data analytics for strategic decision making. And a special thank you for our esteemed panelists, Sanjay sir and Kapil sir, for taking their time out from their busy schedules to share their expertise with you. Your insights and knowledge have made this session truly enriching. We appreciate your participation and we hope we all have gained some valuable takeaways from today's discussion. Wishing you all a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you once again. Thank you.